So today we have the Wyze headphones. Now most people kind of come into Wyze using security cameras. I know that's how I came into the Wyze world. But with the Wyze headphones, Alan has a lot more experience than I do with kind of higher end gaming headsets and different kind of headsets. I mostly just have like the cheap $12 ones I bought for my kids to use, which we'll get to that in a bit. But I basically kind of did a quick analysis and then I handed them off to Alan to get his opinion. So we're both going to kind of do this review together.
Yeah, so these are the culprits. These have been the source of just a few arguments with my wife over the past few weeks. And I gotta say, they're pretty good. I've been liking them. My wife doesn't, and that's just because they're pretty good headphones. And I guess we'll figure out why that is.
So I really thought the overall quality of these headphones are just top-notch and premium.
Yeah, definitely. I would say they really could be described as good enough, and that's not a bad thing. Like, there's nothing on the headphones that immediately screams these are cheap headphones. There's some that you definitely pick them up and you're like, wow, these suck, and that's definitely not these, but there's also not a lot that says they're overly premium either. But I would say they're good enough. They've got mostly plastic with some stainless steel in the headband. You've got that protein leather in that headband and the ear cups, which I would say is actually holding up pretty well. Sometimes you can have that stuff kind of flake, and you know how it just chips away over time. It hasn't really been doing that, which has been nice to see. And I think overall they've got enough of that heft to feel substantial, but not heavy, which is really that perfect point with a pair of headphones. One thing I did notice is they've got this special coating on the ear cups, and they say that's meant to help with the touch controls. But as you can see, it's been prone to scratching a little bit more than I would like. And I know I'm a little bit more maybe active with my gear and a little bit rougher than
Definitely rough.
some people. But
Definitely rough on his gear.
If that's something that you guys might share with me, keep that in mind.
Now these headphones come in at 9.9 ounces, which I feel is like a pretty comfortable weight, especially considering batteries and Bluetooth and all that. But you know, they're very comfortable on your head, but I wish the ear cups were maybe just a touch bigger.
Yeah, they could be a little bit better to fit around the ear more instead of on it, but it's not too bad. I will say, the past weekend I took like a 3-hour car ride, wore them the whole way there, and later that night I actually watched a movie, and I just didn't get that like fatigue that you might expect with some other pairs of headphones after you've worn them for quite a while. So that was nice.
I get that with the earbuds. After a while, my ears just hurt.
Right. And I didn't really have these with those.
What about the battery life when you're watching it for that long?
I would say the incredible battery life. Really, in my opinion, you barely need to charge these things. I mean, especially with the active noise cancellation, which I thought would eat up even more. Mm-hmm. It seems to just absolutely fly.
I even noticed before I gave them to you, Alan, I charged them one time, and I used them for 3, 4, 5 days, no problem. And they still said like 70% battery life on my phone.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I kind of liked, is on my iPhone, when I connected them, you could actually see the battery life of them. Now, I appreciated that. I'm kind of used to that with the AirPod Pros now, so I thought that was a pretty cool feature, that it shows you the battery life of your headphones.
Something you might not expect on a third-party cheaper budget set of headphones.
Part of that battery life could be due to the Bluetooth 5.0, which is pretty sweet. In fact, you can even connect it to multiple devices at a time.
Right, 2 at a time.
And we even noticed that when it was connected to my phone and your phone. Yeah. I would pull up YouTube on my phone as Alan's testing them out, and YouTube would start playing on the headphones. But
Where's this music coming from?
Exactly. But otherwise, I thought they got plenty loud. All audio quality I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say vocals are pretty clear.
Yep.
It's not the fullest sound, but it is pretty good. You've got that clarity. It's a little heavy on the bass.
I feel like a lot of headphones that aren't like studio quality headphones like throw in extra bass for you. Like I'm thinking Beats headphones, right?
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's all about the bass.
About that bass, no trouble.
And that's kind of something they do to try and kind of trick you into thinking you've got a little bit more punch than you do. And in this case, I wouldn't say that's really too much of an issue, actually. I think they're not relying that heavily on it. And that is something that I noticed you can change in the app. You can do a little bit of EQ.
Yes.
You've got a few presets to get you started. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, I like that. Again, Wyze just nails it on the app. In fact, when I first connected these to my phone, the first thing it did is said, hey, there's a firmware update. Go ahead and update them. So that's one thing I love about these is they're going to be connected to your phone. and Wyze is going to be pushing those firmware updates. So you're always going to get the latest and greatest. So before we get to product comparisons and how these headphones, Alan can't even hear me right now probably, compare to both the cheap ones and also his gaming headset. Real quick, one way you can help support the channel is use that Buy Me a Coffee link down below, which literally buys me a cup of coffee, keeps me going, gets me plenty of caffeine. Or also, like, subscribe, comment. Those are free and totally help the YouTube algorithm out, help our channel going. But Alan, let's dive into comparisons. What do you feel these compare against versus like your high-end gaming headset?
No, yeah, I've had the pleasure of actually not only testing these, but comparing them a little bit side by side with, a higher-end gaming headset that I use when I'm playing games, and we've had the pleasure of also putting them alongside Scott's $12 Dollar Tree headset.
Not Dollar Tree, but
to see
Amazon
how they
special
stack up.
POZRs that
Okay.
I bought for my daughter to use and my kids to use.
Nice.
And even during our testing, we were kind of comparing them, and the right side wasn't even working anymore.
Yeah. Not great quality there.
Yeah.
But something that the gaming headsets really nail is the ear cups, and that's because whether we like it or not, sometimes we could spend a little bit more time than maybe we should playing games. And so on my headset, the Steel Series, the ear cups are quite large. They fit over the ears. The headband is nice and soft, has some give, adjustable, and so overall that fit is really great. And the ear cup size, I would say, is a big part of that, because you don't want something squashing your ears into your head for an extended period of time. These aren't too bad, but like we said, they could stand to be a little bit larger. But compared to the cheap headphones, these knock it out of the park. I mean, those just feel like you're cramming something onto your skull. These have a much nicer, softer kind of hugging feeling.
Yeah, and just the protein leather is super soft, especially compared to the cheap plasticky feel of the other headphones.
Yeah, it's not quite comfortable. The sound quality on these actually stacks up pretty well. We said that it sounds good. Now, these do get quite loud. I'll say that's one of their strong points. You don't want ever to not be able to hear what you're trying to hear, and these do get loud enough to where sometimes I'm not rocking them full volume just because I don't want to bust my eardrums out.
Right.
Especially
with noise cancellation, the nice thing is you don't even need that super high volume,
because you're not trying to drown out anything else, because you're pretty much isolated.
Yep.
Now, noise cancellation, that's something that even my gaming headphones don't have, and that's kind of because design and what they need to function as, these are a little bit different. But those Amazon special ones,
definitely no.
They sure don't have that one.
Now, I will say, compared to the AirPod Pros that I've used, the noise cancellation is, I would say, half as best.
Right.
The AirPod Pros are absolutely incredible. It just tunes out the world. But these ones are still pretty good, but kind of a mix between pass-through and noise cancellation.
Right, and they do have a few different modes. I would say the noise cancellation is good to help you immerse in that music, but not to rely on not being able to hear anything whatsoever at all.
Yep.
But I think it's a good value for this price.
Right. What is the price?
So these come at I think $67 right now, and they were a little bit cheaper. They seem to have been climbing. I think they maybe
most
know
things in this world,
what they're worth. Yeah.
Lately in technology, a lot of things have been going up in price. But one thing I kind of liked is the connection on the bottom, how you can actually plug in a wire. As I mentioned, my cheap headphones that I bought for my kids.
Integrated.
It's fully integrated.
Yeah.
You can't replace it.
And it's broken.
And it's broken. So now the headphones are worthless, even though if I could replace that, it'd be good to go.
So these are going to be Bluetooth. My headphones for gaming, those are actually wireless, 2.4. So it's going to be very snappy.
Yeah.
I did test them during gaming, and for casual things, I played Minecraft with my wife, and that was okay.
Yeah.
But when I was playing Call of Duty, it's more competitive environment. Because of that latency, and you're hearing something later than it's happening, I didn't like that. But yeah, you can connect these to two different things. So I did actually use them with my computer while working and my phone. That's something that I can't really do with those other ones. And those do have the option to have a cable as well. It's just a little bit different.
So as we mentioned, the app is pretty fantastic, being able to change the transparency mode right on the fly as you're kind of using them. Or you can use the button on the side, or you can hit the EQ button, change your different bass or movie or voice, different presets that they give you. And you always kind of see the battery life up there, but if you dive into settings, you can see the battery life there. And then if you dive into touch controls, this is where you can choose, do you want your voice assistant on or off? If you double tap, I like that you can turn that off, and the fact of like, I don't want to accidentally bump it from time to time. But also this quick conversation, like I love the fact that you can just cover one ear cuff and be able to just have that conversation with someone. So that's kind of like what Alan was saying early on, right, of like talking to his wife.
Yeah. She's walking by and I'm on the computer and she's like, hey, can you do the dishes? Now I have control. I can choose to hear her. Or,
you should choose. You should always choose to listen to your wife.
Noise cancellation is pretty good.
But you also, when you pull them off, it auto pauses your video. Now, gaming it wouldn't, but it will auto pause your video.
Yeah.
Or you can just,
music.
When you cover, that actually just drops the volume to 10%.
Right.
And then you can keep having that conversation, turns the noise cancellation off and all that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And it was something that surprised me. These seem to be pretty feature rich just for, how much they cost. And it's definitely not like the cheapest pair of headphones out there, but there were some things like that quick conversation mode. That I think is unique. I think that's something they nailed, because trying to, when you've got earbuds, you can pop one out, listen, and then put it back in. But when you've got over-ear headphones on, especially if you've only got one hand available, trying to take them off to have a quick conversation and then get them back on, it just doesn't work. Right. But when you've got that is awesome.
Yeah.
Being able to pause your content when you take them off, and when you put them back on, just comes right back on. I love that.
Yep.
I tried actually for a little while to trick it and mash them together, cover them up, and see what exactly it detected to do that. And it's a smart little pair of headphones.
I also tried to trick it. That sometimes I've noticed that with the AirPod Pros, if I'm talking to someone, I pull one out and I cup it in my hand.
Right.
It'll sense that and start playing again. So I have to open my hand as I'm talking to someone. But these ones I also had a hard time tricking. I think I got it a few times, not enough to figure out where the sensors are.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell. Something just to do with maybe it's total coverage or total darkness. I don't know, but it works great. Yeah.
So now that we've given you the specs, who are these for? Who do you think these are for?
Well, I think that these aren't for the audiophile, the person going for the highest tier headphones, and I don't think they're supposed to be either.
Right. A little bass heavy and stuff.
Right. But Wyze just does this thing where they take a product and they kind of pull it into more of the realm of affordability with some cool features and their own little quirks, and fit it into a decent price point. And so I think if you're looking for that first bump up from your Amazon special headphones with the cord that doesn't work anymore, but not quite wanting to totally bust the bank account and go all out, I think these might be a great option for you.
So let us know what you think. Are these the right headphones for you? We hope this video helped. Leave the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Till next time.
See ya.
See ya.